What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is Preview Picks, the show where I go over comic books that are coming out this Wednesday, give you my ideas on what they're all about, and whether there's something you should talk to your shop about, so make sure you subscribe to get one of these every Monday. Also, stick around for the end of the video. I've got a poll so you can vote on which comic book you want me to review, as well as news on a special giveaway. It's the first time I've done one of these, so it's definitely something that you're going to want to check out. To start off with, let's talk about Spider-Gwen Number 25, which is the first arc of the dedicated Gwenom storyline. So this is probably the most interesting thing that's really happened inside the Spider-Gwen Earth 65 universe, and really, I love the style of the actual Gwenom costume. You know, I feel like the whole style of Robbie Rodriguez is pretty interesting. I've been a fan of it ever since I saw it really come out, so it's definitely something I'm going to be checking out. We also have Green Arrow Number 33, which is coming out, and this is going to be the Tale of Two Cities, I think, which is really talking, it's, you know, we're away from the Gotham Resistance storyline, and it's really about Oliver Queen getting back to Star City and coming up with solutions to potential conflicts that are coming around, and it seems like Shadow and Emiko are going to be playing a pretty serious role in the storyline going forward. We also want to talk about Descender Number 25. So the rise of the robots continues to happen, and we actually see this armada of robots headed towards, you know, the alliances. Oh man, it's just, there's just so much going on. Tim 22 is being a phenomenal kind of like foil to their plans. He's just this great villain. I really dig exactly what's going on with him. And then there's this kind of fractured storyline that's finally coming back together. You know, you've got Driller coming back into the fold as far as things are concerned. I am really excited about where Descender's going. Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen have been doing a great job ever since this book started coming out, so I can't recommend Descender enough. It's just fantastic. Another book I want to talk about is Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man Number 5. So this is Chip Zdarsky, who's got a rather interesting approach to Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man. It's a little bit more street-line, it's a little bit more friendly, it's a little bit more classic Spider-Man. You know, some might call it formulaic, but I find that it's a real harkening back to the classic version of Spider-Man with some fun twists into it, like, you know, Peter Parker's Spider-Man hopping up on stage and doing some stand-up. What I'm really interested to see is what's going to happen once he moves past this baseline story. You know, once he gets past his intro scene, you know, and develops and takes care of these loose plot threads. We will, in the future, see a few different versions, including like a Frost Nixon kind of sit down with, you know, J. Jonah Jameson, but what we really want out of this one is a wrap-up or a conclusion of this storyline before we dip into stuff that's really developing Peter Parker as a character more, and then that way we can get it in line with the main Amazing Spider-Man title. Another book I'm really hoping for a fresh take on is Green Lantern's Number 33, which is the first issue written by Tim Seeley, and I'm really excited to see where this one goes. It's a really interesting kind of look to the storyline, and I really dig what Tim Seeley did with Nightwing, as well as Dick Grayson as a character over his tenure with that character, so I'm really intrigued to see what he can do with Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz, and where he can kind of take those characters, you know, past and beyond, you know, like improve upon what Sam Humphries really brought to them. I'm really excited to see where this goes. You know, he gets to write in space. It's got to be interesting, so I'm really excited for that. Definitely something that I think you should check out. Another book that people should check out is Kill or Be Killed. Issue number 13 drops this Wednesday, and it's an Eisner-nominated series from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. It's just a really cool setup. I haven't been reading the remaining issues. I've been really kind of reading them in chunks, you know, like we get part 1, part 2, part 3. I've just been buying the issues and then reading them later, you know, in a big kind of joined sitting, so that way I can sit down for an hour and a half and read me some Kill or Be Killed, which has just been fantastic. So definitely a recommendation from me. Next, we'll dive into a Marvel Legacy title, which is The Incredible Hulk number 709, which this sees Amadeus Cho venturing to Sakaar. So, you know, I get the parallels between the entire, you know, Thor Incredible Hulk movie that's coming out, you know, Thor Ragnarok, and why we want to get people familiar with the planet of Sakaar, you know, where we got our, you know, where we got Planet Hulk and all that kind of stuff. You know, Greg Pak is going back to that, and hopefully it gives the Hulk a very different kind of experience. I've really enjoyed Totally Awesome Hulk up until the point in time where it was tied into Civil War II and the whole continuity structure between Brian Michael Bendis and what he was doing and what Greg Pak's original intentions were. You know, when they got fractured, basically it felt like he derailed the entire series as part of Civil War II, and that wasn't necessarily his fault. So I'm really excited to see what his plans were, or like where the story's going for now. I mean, it's something that I'm going to give at least another shot to, but it's a book that I haven't been reading for quite some time. Another book I'm really excited for is Superman number 33, which is a brand new storyline coming off the heels of Superman and Lois Lane versus Deathstroke. This is Imperious Lex, where we finally get kind of a conclusion to a prediction where one of the Supermen has to sit on the throne of Apocalypse. And everybody always assumed it's going to be Lex Luthor. However, it'd be really interesting to see if it's Superman. So I'm really excited for the Imperious Lex storyline, what it means for Jonathan Kent, Lois Lane, and Superman. I think that, what's going on in Action Comics it's the Oz effect. It is important for DC Rebirth as a whole. However, I can't help but think that the Imperious Lex storyline might be just as interesting, if not a little bit more so. So we'll have to see what this one's all about. Then on to Legacy title number 2, and that is Invincible Iron Man number 593. I think that's 593. The numbering is getting me all kinds of confused, but it's the beginning of the Search for Tony Stark arc. When we saw in Marvel Legacy number 1, he had actually disappeared, his body was gone. It could be his AI grabbing one of his armors and pulling his body out there. Maybe he wakes up and walks away. Maybe he just feels like he's not necessary because Riri Williams is doing such a good job. But the big thing is that this is going to be all of the Iron Men folding into one story. You've got Tony Stark, the infamous Iron Man, Victor Von Doom, and Riri Williams, Ironheart. They're all going to be focal points for this particular story that Brian Michael Bendis is trying to tell, leading up to Invincible Iron Man number 600. So if you're interested in what the future holds for these Iron characters, this is a book that you're going to have to read. Let's dip back into the world of Independence real quick and talk about Realm number 2. So this is a post-apocalyptic world where essentially realms of magic had opened up and started to invade and infest the world of the reality, our reality, our normal everyday America. And after 20 years of being infested by these things, you've got dragons and floating islands and mages and all this kind of stuff. There is one man that navigates the wasteland finer than anybody, and this is his story. It was a book I found way more entertaining than expected, so it's definitely something that I'm going back to for issue 2. There was a great Steely Dan reference in there, so that makes me feel like the writers kind of connect with me on a very different level, it seems like, because I'm a fan of Steely Dan's Dirty Work. It's just a good song. So it's definitely something that I'm going to be checking out. Another book that I'm going to be checking out that you definitely should be checking out is Batman number 33. So on the end of War of Jokes and Riddles, we finally got the answer from Selina Kyle that she wants to marry Bruce Wayne. So Batman number 33 is going to begin his journey to not only seek the approval of his extended Bat family, but also, the various other people that have been impactful inside Bruce Wayne and Batman's life. Is there a potential for conflict between Catwoman and Talia al Ghul, the mother of his child Damian? How is Damian going to feel about stepmom Selina Kyle? What about other stepmom aspects? Dick Grayson versus Selina, Tim Drake, oh man, there's just Jason Todd is going to be so livid. It's it's one of those things where I'm just really excited to see how this choice or this pursuit of happiness is really going to impact the relationship between the various members of the Bat family. I'm really excited to see what Tom King has in store for this storyline. And then last among the ongoing series, but certainly not least, is the Mighty Thor number 700, which begins the Death of the Mighty Thor arc. So we see Mangog being introduced as in part of Marvel Legacy number 1. We see this giant cascading cover by Russell Dodderman, including all of the Thors, or at least tons of Thors from the Thors universe, from Secret Wars. How this is really going to impact the overall storyline. The fate of Asgard is in the balance of these kind of things. Where are we going with this kind of conclusion? Are we going to see the resurrection or the possible savior, of Jane Foster from cancer, or is she going to succumb, in this classic kind of tale? I'm really excited to see where Jason Aaron's going. He has a Marvel project that he hasn't announced, which is why he had to pull back off of Doctor Strange. But he is continuing on with Mighty Thor until he ends the storyline that he started way back when in The God of Thunder. So I'm really excited to see where this one goes. Definitely something that I'm going to have to recommend for everybody. Now let's talk about new number 1s, and we've got Deadpool versus Old Man Logan, or Old Man Logan versus Deadpool, however you want to announce it. It's one of these kind of versus storylines where you've got Old Man Logan versus Deadpool. It's a short mini-series. If you're into that kind of conflict storyline, I'm sure that it's going to be a real fun take. It might not necessarily be something that I'm planning on picking up, but it looks like it'd be definitely entertaining for somebody that's looking for a little bit more popcorn fare in terms of their storylines and their comic books. We also have Maestro's number 1, which is coming from Image, which tells the story of a millennial who was raised on Earth, becoming the kind of king, emperor, wizard of this other realm, and how it impacts things, when he's got ultimate control over this universe and brings that morality, that sensibilities of a modern millennial to that throne. So that is just an interesting concept on its own. I'm planning on picking up number 1 to see if it can kind of grab me, and then we're going to go from there. Then we have 2 big number 1s that I'm really happy about. First is Batman the Drowned, which is going to continue on with these Dark Knight one-shots, where we're going to see how Aquawoman, Batwoman, Man thing kind of came about. So Dan Abnett's going to be writing this, and overall it looks like a really interesting kind of storyline. I'm expecting it to draw some parallels with Earth 11, which is from the Multiversity storyline, where all the male superheroes were actually female and all the female superheroes were male. So it's kind of like a gender-bent situation where the Waynes had a daughter instead of a son, and she became Batwoman, and then eventually succumbed to this kind of emotional pain, this worst fear, and became Aquawoman as part of that. So that's what I'm expecting out of Batman the Drowned, so I'm really excited to see if my theory kind of pans out. And then the last one that I want to talk about is Sherlock Frankenstein and the Legion of Doom, or the Legion of Evil here. This is the continuation of the Black Hammer universe. The Black Hammer universe is talking about this kind of parallel, this kind of commentary on overall stories regarding superheroes in general. So this is the take on the various villains of that Black Hammer universe, of Spiral City and the surrounding areas, that Jeff Lemire has really kind of cultivated over the course of the last year and a half with his Black Hammer series. I'm really excited to see where this one goes, simply because it seems so fresh and so new. And from the way that I hear Jeff Lemire talk about it in interviews, he is really excited about expanding this universe. So it's definitely something that I'm excited for as well. So make sure that you double check the poll that's going to be up here, so that way you can check off which comic you want me to do a review for. And then let's talk about this giveaway thing. So the giveaway thing is something that's very new, very fresh. It's something that I've never done before. But what I had the opportunity to do was I went and I saw Sean Gordon Murphy. So if you know Sean Gordon Murphy, he was the artist for Tokyo Ghost, and now he's putting out Batman White Knight #1. And you can click on the card up there if you want to get a review of issue #1. But he was doing a signing at a, not say local comic book shop, but it was about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So I decided, you know what, I've got an extra copy, so I want to go up there and get a couple signed by him. So he did a really cool one for me of the regular cover with a little sketch of Batman, but I've got a spare. So if I've got a spare copy of Batman the White Knight, and it just happens to be signed by Sean Gordon Murphy, I figure that for you guys that have been supporting me for so long, why not give it to one of you? So here's the details. I'm going to be doing a sweepstakes or giveaway or whatever you want to call it, where by October 31st, so on Halloween, I'm going to announce the winner out of the list of subscribers that I currently have. So all you need to do to qualify for, possibly winning this copy of Batman White Knight, autographed by Sean Gordon Murphy, is to subscribe to the channel. So make sure you subscribe so that way I can grab your information before October 31st and draw you possibly as a winner. And that's just my small way of giving back to you guys for helping me out and, showing me the kind of support that got me back into making these videos. I'm super excited about them, but I'm really excited about what you guys think about the comic books coming out this Wednesday. So as always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Hit me up in the comments if you want to talk about the various books that you're picking up that I'm not picking up, or the ones that I'm talking about, and what your theories are on those. So hit me up in the comments. Like the video, hit subscribe if you want more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.